you recommend trying to fly with the current delay cancellation issues? I mean, if you could, I don't know where you live, Camille. I mean, if driving is an option, like if you live in the Southeast, Carolinas, Georgia, Virginia, yeah, I would drive probably. But here's what I would tell you about flying. And I know the news is making it is a problem, but it's not insurmountable. It's not like everybody's flight's being canceled. I mean, there are canceled flights, there are delays. This is not new. There's more than there's been. My advice to you is this. Number one, and I've always said this before, Camille, I think you know this, fly in at least a day before your cruise. If you really want to protect yourself, fly in 2 days. If you can fly in 2 days before your cruise, there is no way you're missing that cruise because there's no way you're going to miss the cruise as a result of a missed flight. It's extremely unlikely that you would run into that many delays or cancellations that you couldn't make it. So, come in a day or two ahead of time. If at all possible, don't check any luggage. Do carry on. I know that's kind of weird, but it's a thing. I haven't done it yet, so I have not practiced what I preach here, Camille. But if you could do that, that would be another way to kind of get around that issue as well. Can or do the cruise ships have any protocols for all the airline delays? They do not. I mean, ultimately, Paul, it's on you to make it there on time. And this is why I always talk about come in at least a day ahead of time. I mean, again, I talked about this earlier, but there are airline delays, there are airline cancellations, there are more than there's been recently, but people are still flying, people are still making it where they need to be. You just need to give yourself more time for it in order to get there. So it's more paramount. Obviously, if you were, I would have told you this in 2019, you're crazy for flying in the same day of your cruise. And I'll tell you here in 2022, you're even more crazy for doing so. But my advice again, Paul, and we did this when we went to Alaska, is we came in 2 days ahead of time. Now, luckily, we had no issues, right? But, come in 2 days ahead of time. Book, if that's not possible, my next recommendation is find the first flight of the day. Ideally, a flight where it leaves from your city. The plane is on the ground because it came in the night before. So you don't have to worry about the aircraft getting there. And do direct flights. Even if it means driving more, I would do a direct flight. So, figure that out. But it's very possible. I know the news makes a really big deal out of the cancellations because they love to scare people about everything in general. But, people are still making their flights. I mean, it's not to say that every other flight is being canceled or delayed. It's not quite that bad. It's just more so than before. Any embarkation day tips? Yeah, I mean, a couple things. Number one, your pre-COVID test, print it out beforehand. Have a printout. Yes, you can show it on your phone, but it's way easier with a printout, especially if you have more than like one or two people, because it's a lot easier just to show them. So have your printout of your documents there. Sharia, the day of the cruise, so the actual morning, before you even get to the terminal, complete the health questionnaire. So basically, when you go to your check-in and the app, you should have everything done. And I guess we'll expand that and say, if you haven't already, make sure you have your check-in time, arrive at your check-in time, have everything green on there, upload your selfie photo, upload a photo of the vaccine card, easy peasy right there. Once you're on board the ship, Sharia, next thing you want to do, get something to eat. You deserve a lunch, so have something to eat. Everything's better on a full stomach. Then go make any specialty dining reservations. If you have a dining package, now is when you want to book them. 1:00 p.m. If you have kids, go to Adventure Ocean, register them over there. And then on top of that, if you're concerned with or you just want to see, it's a good idea. Go to the dining room on your C-Pass card. If you have traditional dining, if you have My Time, you can ignore this tip. But if you have traditional dining, on the bottom of your C-Pass card, it will say the table number. I don't know if you can see it right there, but mine says table 153 on deck 3. So go down there, make sure the table's good, the location looks okay to you, the right amount of seats are at the table for your party, blah, blah, blah. If they're not, talk to the maitre d'. There's many more tips there, Sharia, but those are the 5 I could rattle off the top of my head. And most importantly, one more, do the muster drill while you're eating lunch. When you sit down with your food in the Windjammer and you're eating your lunch, take your phone out, do the muster drill. So multitask. That's the key right there. Out of all the places you've been to, which one was your favorite and why? Cuba. Havana, Cuba was amazing. I mean, maybe because it's the forbidden door, maybe because I just wasn't able to go there. But I mean, the scale of Havana makes San Juan, Puerto Rico look like a little mini, like small little village. I mean, it was the amount of history, culture, amazing. Of course, Alaska is Alaska, and I could go to Alaska every day. I would love to do so. It's absolutely stunning and beautiful. So, yeah. In your opinion, do you think it's worth it to be a suite guest? I mean, yeah. I guess the answer is, Carter. I mean, it depends on how much the suite is, obviously. I love staying in suites for the perks we get for the kids. It's very nice, but I'd be the first person to admit that it's not necessary. You can have a great cruise without staying in a suite. You can use that money, spend it on another cruise, spend it on an awesome shore excursion, drink package, or all of the above. So the answer, Carter, I believe, is a suite worth it? Truly boils down to how much more money is it going to cost you to move up to a suite? What's your budget like? Are you really killing your budget? Could you take that money and maybe get 2 vacations instead of 1 vacation? Because I would absolutely do that instead. But if you're, doing well for yourself and your vacations you'll be taking regardless of what type of cabin you take, so it's not like, one booking a suite will put you in the poorhouse, so to speak. Um, is it worth it to spend the money? Sure. Sometimes treating yourself is really nice to do, and suites absolutely do a great job of that. So, yeah. You think cruises will go up in price throughout the year or stay roughly the same for next year cruises? It's a good question, Jared, because you've got a couple different factors. You have inflation, of course. Then you have, of course, the anticipated recession, which may or may not have an impact there. I don't know that prices of cruises in general tend to be pretty stable in the grand scheme of things. I mean, they go up over time, obviously, but they're not, you don't see you don't see huge jumps in prices like you would with other types of things in life. I think generally speaking, Jared, yeah, prices go up over time. And I would say this is always why, Jared, I always talk about one of my favorite tips, which is book your cruise as early as you can, lock in the price. That's really important because prices do tend to go up. So if you have an inkling of going on a cruise maybe next year, I'd book it now, lock in the price, book a refundable cruise fare, and there you go. Could you do more than one excursion at a port? You could, but I wouldn't recommend it. Even if you're in port for like 12 hours or so, there's 2 issues. Number one, there's a lot of energy expelled on excursions, so you might be tired. Number 2, the timing of them can be really difficult to do. So my advice to you, Santi, is maybe book one tour, but then do something else on your own, like walk around town, have lunch, do something that's more like on your own as opposed to 2 organized tours in a day. I think that may be a little too much. Can men wear shorts, especially dining on Oasis? Krista, this is one of these gray areas where like it's purposely left vague by Royal Caribbean. There's a lot of people, Krista, in the chat who are going to share their opinions on it, but neither them nor I are the arbiter of what you should or should not do when it comes to dress codes. Because quite frankly, Krista, Royal Caribbean really doesn't enforce the dress codes. So let me put it this way: would your husband or I don't know, male compadre be turned away for wearing a pair of shorts in the dining room for dinner? No. Especially dining. I didn't even read that part. Same answer. They again, it's very, very infrequently enforced. But again, should men wear shorts in the dining room, especially dining? That's a different question, and that's a question only you can answer there. I am not your father. I cannot answer them for you, and I'm not Royal Caribbean either. So yeah, sailing on Harmony Seas July 17th. How difficult is to get prime dining time? 7 p.m. with the Olympic dining package. If you go, Josh, on day 1, you board the ship, you get something to eat because, like I said, everything's better with a full stomach, and then you go immediately to make reservations. You should have very little issue. I've had very little issue with that. The only ship I remember having problems with that recently was Wonder of the Seas, but that was because that was a brand new ship, and everyone and their mother knew all the tips and secrets about dining packages. So I would not lollygag on it. If you get on board the ship and make reservations immediately for as soon as you get on board for all the nights, you should have little problem. You might have to be a little flexible, Josh, maybe 7:30, 7:45, something like that, but it should not be a major problem there. Can you give me your impressions of Explorer of the Seas? Explorer of the Seas, Voyager class. I love the Voyager class, April. Great value. Still lots to do on board that ship. She doesn't have the upgrades that, Mariner and Navigator got, but just because it doesn't have water slides doesn't mean it's not a great ship, I was actually, April, this close to booking the Explorer of the Seas. I was supposed to get yesterday. I would have gone on yesterday. I thought about doing it, but then I was like, well, we got the group cruise coming up. I want to save my excitement for that. But Explorer's a fun ship. It's just obviously if you're looking at Mariner, if you're comparing it to Mariner, the Seas, it doesn't have all the features that Mariner has because Mariner got an upgrade. But don't let that stop you. It's still a fun ship. Voyager class ships are always a really, really good point. Bailey said test is going away 2 months. No. So this is incorrect, and I want to make sure we stop this rumor. He said he thinks it might be a couple of months, but do not take couple to be literally 2. He did not say that. Couple, he was saying very just matter-of-factly, in a roundabout, maybe it's not an exact number, Jorge. So he did not say 2. He said he thinks it's going to be a couple of months more. but that does not mean 2. Could it be 2? Sure, anything's possible. But there's absolutely no direct, he did not say it's going to be exactly 2 months. Does that make sense? So these kind of rumors, this is unfortunately where the internet is bad. Somebody reads, oh, a couple months, and then they assume, not you, Jorge, I'm just saying in general, 2, and then word starts spreading, and yeah, so he did not say 2. He just said, and again, if you want to see the entire quote, Jorge, it's at royalcaribbeanblog.com. How many bags can we carry on? It's a great question. There is no limit. Whatever you can reasonably bring with you, as long as you can fit through that security machine. But Sharia, let me tell you something. Here's what I would do. My recommendation is, bring your valuables in a carry-on bag. So that's, it's like a backpack or a purse or a shoulder bag, right? But don't bring all your luggage with you. That's crazy. People do that, like either because they're trying to get around tipping the porters list. It's like, guys, it's like $1 a bag you tip them, which is the custom. Like, what are we talking about? $10? Ooh, $10. Like, they're doing you a service, because by doing that, you get to walk on the ship and you're not lugging all this stuff. You don't have all this junk with you. You certainly could do that. Or I think people are just ignorant and are unaware that they can do that. But don't be a pack mule bringing the stuff on board the ship. Bring, like I said, a bag with your valuables and some important stuff on there. That's a good idea. But don't go overboard with that. And any tips, tricks to get a room upgrade? There's only 2 that really you can talk about. One is you could book a guarantee cabin, maybe a very, very low chance. Like, when I say low, I'm talking like, I'd say it's like you got like a 5% chance, honestly. Very, very low chance of getting an upgrade there. The only way to do it these days is, of course, Royal Up. You bid for an upgrade. Ever since the bidding for an upgrade became a thing, the so-called upgrade fairy has disappeared. Thank you to everybody for checking us out. We'll be live again next Monday right here on YouTube. Until then, have a great week. Stay safe out there. Do something fun. And we'll talk again very soon right here on YouTube. Good night, everybody.